This is House Talk. My name is ZET, aka Colorado's Rockstar Realtor, and we have a very special guest today. Of course, with me as always, we got Mike Benton of Benton Capital, aka The Dome, and today our very special guest, Colby Zipper with State Farm.
Welcome, Colby. How are you, man?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, thanks for being here. We're definitely excited to have you here. We're gonna dive into it and explore all things insurance. This is, of course, House Talk, all things house. So, yeah, thanks for being here. And how's your week going? How's your year going so far?
Week's going good. Year's going good. I've owned a State Farm agency for going on 4 years now, but I've been in the industry since 2013, so like 10 years. It's kind of cool. But I sold insurance for a guy who owned a State Farm agency for a while, and then started my own once I was ready and confident to do so. And we've just grown every year, like through the pandemic. It's funny, we opened right when the pandemic started, and then survived and thrived through the whole pandemic. And we're still just very consistent with the same approach we had in 2019 going into 2023. And it doesn't break because it's conservative and consistent.
So how'd you get into the business? I mean, what made you get into insurance?
Yeah, when I got out of the Navy, I swam for the Navy for 4 years, and then went to the University of Florida, and I struggled like probably any other young guy with like, what do I do, for work? Should I be a pilot? Should I be a farmer? Should I sell real estate like my dad? Like I had no idea what to do. And so I just tried a lot of different things, prayed or struggled or whined to myself, just kind of just stress out as a college kid. And yeah,
right.
And literally one day I just kind of like saw the fact that insurance is a product that everybody has to buy. Everybody, you drive a car, you have car insurance, you live in an apartment, you have renter's insurance, and so on. And so I just kind of saw like, that's a really common thing, an easy thing to sell. So I just went and knocked on a guy named Bill Matchell's door. He owned a State Farm agency like right across the street from the stadium, the Gators football stadium. And I said, hey, I really want to sell insurance. And now I know that nobody has ever done that for me. Nobody ever knocks on my door and says, hey, can I work for you? Hey, can I sell for you? So I did that for him, and he was just like, hell yeah. Like he signed me up, trained me a little bit. And then I just blew the doors off, man. I just like sold. I asked how much does the average person sell? And so I just sold a lot more than that and had fun with it. When I realized I was good, I started talking to him about how do I own one of these one day. I was really like attracted to his lifestyle, lifted truck, duck hunting all the time, nice house, a couple daughters that he put through school. Just like had a very casual but good lifestyle, and I wanted that. So I asked him to train me, and he kind of trained me over a couple of years, and I stayed in touch with him. And I moved out to Colorado just because this is where I wanted to live, even though that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do it here in the Rocky Mountains for skiing and hunting and whatever. So I latched on to another guy who owned an agency, and I trained under him. He taught me a lot too. And then after maybe a couple years of really just soaking up everything I could and feeling confident enough to launch, I decided to just go for it. And I think it's just taking a risk like anybody else does, but it just was a good risk, conservative, but good. And it's just, I don't know, I
Nice.
Just love it now,
I mean, yeah, I love hearing people's stories. I think that tells you a lot about somebody, right? Like, where they've been, where they're going, and then where you came from. It's really cool to hear. So tell our audience, like, what are some misconceptions, right? Like, what, about insurance, and then tell them, like, what's the difference between, say, you're with State Farm versus like using ABC insurance.
Sure.
Just curious.
I think the biggest misconceptions are just the average person. I've had a lot of friends as I was getting into insurance, or when I was just a kid, and they would say things like insurance is a scam or whatever, because they don't fully understand what it's there to protect, So people think it's, well, my car's not worth that much, so why should I have to pay that much insurance? The car's only worth $4,000. Well, it's not about the car. It's about when if I hit you, and I break your neck, and you're used to making $200,000 a year supporting your wife and kids. You're saving for retirement so your family can feel like they're going to be able to retire early and have a good life. Well, I just changed everything now for you and your family. You're not dead, but you might be paralyzed. You might be incapable of producing for your family. So your wife is going to sue me. And so when she goes after me to get compensation for what you guys just lost, because I'll move on, but you're going to see a physical therapist for the rest of your life. Can't use the bathroom the same way that you did. And I use these examples because these are actual like people. I won't say names, but I know people, friends, faces that their lives have been changed forever. So it's that bodily injury claim. It's that liability. It's not the bumper for $400. It's the excessive medical bills that rack up to $400,000. And if you guys are successful people and you hit somebody else and then they find out that you were successful, then they're going to go after your exposed assets. And so that's what State Farm, all the companies are designed to do, is to that liability is the biggest thing. So that's the misconception, is that insurance is a scam. I don't need it because I never get into an accident, or my car's not worth that much. It's really just like, what if you get sued for $400,000 because you ruined somebody else's life? We want to be there for you. And, I know I protect you, and your limits are great, and so that's important, is that I know, and I can sleep at night knowing that Mike, as my friend, doesn't need to worry about, getting sued beyond his limits, because they are good. But if I met you and I found out that you're successful too, but you have really low limits, well, then I would love to change that. And I think that's what separates State Farm from all the other companies. If you call Geico, you're not going to get me. I'm a business owner. I have employees, I call them team members, but I live here, I work here. I'm very passionate about what I do. It took a lot for me to get to where I am. And you're going to be able to work with me and people that I train, versus maybe it's Geico or maybe it's Progressive, but you're working with somebody in a call center that maybe he has the potential to be smart one day, but he's only been there for 6 months. You're really not talking to somebody with that much of a wealth of information.
Kind of like a phone jockey, right?
Yeah.
Nothing against phone jockeys. I mean, I think some of us started out that way, me included, but at the same time, you want to get beyond that, and do you want to put your life's, your assets and everything else in the hands of that, versus somebody that actually, stands behind it.
Someone like that's more or less just going off of a script and what they're told or what they know, but they don't have the experience like yourself, who's been through these and can be creative or find creative solutions for people. Again, they're just kind of more or less going off of a script in a book and for that question, here's what we refer to, that sort of thing.
I really choose not to speak on anything I don't understand, so I try to just use logic and stories and just being creative with. We're not going to talk about, if you say, hey, do you not know the answer to the question? If it's my industry, I do know the answer to the question, because I better know, that's my industry, but if it's outside of my area of expertise, then I can go and help you figure it out. But I'm supposed to be an industry expert, and I am.
I think what you hit on is huge. And this is something I always tell my clients, when I'm referring them to a lender or insurance, is having someone local that you can get a hold of, that you can talk to about your situation, or have answer any questions that you have, because a lot of time these bigger companies that are corporate or that are worldwide, you see advertised and everything, a lot of times they treat customers more or less like a number on a paper. You call and you get a hotline, that sort of thing. So I think that's huge, that kind of customer service. It really is.
Yeah, you want to go be able to strangle them, if something goes wrong, be like, hey man, why isn't this fixed yet?
Literally, Mike texted me yesterday, hey man, I need my insurance ID cards, and I know he got them in the mail, but he probably just threw them in the trash, so we can just send him another copy. It's not a big deal. But touching on customer service, I want to stay there for just a minute, because I feel like customer service, along with a few other things like efficiency, production, there's some things that I just really am kind of hyper passionate about, but customer service is a big one. I get almost angry, but what are you going to do when you call AT&T or a phone company or a utility company or whatever, and you can't get through? in those moments, I would pay $100 sometimes just to get like an intelligent,
like Tesla insurance.
Yeah.
Hold time,
get
45 minutes.
Yeah. So hold times, I'm not cool with that. Something that I commit to, and this isn't every State Farm, but this is definitely mine. Every State Farm is very different because there's a man or a woman in charge of that State Farm, and the culture is them. It's whoever they are, you know.
Similar to us, like a Cardinal, right? Like, I mean, there's a bunch of different Cardinal financials, but our offices run different. So we get that. Just like Keller Williams. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of Keller Williams agents, but they're all not ZET.
Yeah. Only one has Mr. ZET free. Just messing with y'all.
But that point of when you call, you will not, at my office, you won't, and I'm only going to plug myself just this one time because I more like to talk about the surface level things. But for me, you won't get phone trees. I don't believe in them. I don't believe in press 1 for this, press 2 for that. I want you to get Mary. Hey, this is Josh. Hey, this is Joe. Hey, this is, you know, Lauren with Zipper State Farm. It might not always be me, and the way I'm able to scale is because I do train my team, replicate myself, and we've grown so fast because of that. But you won't get voicemails often, once out of 100 calls maybe, then you'll never get phone trees with us. I want always for there to be that person that says, hey, this is Ashley. How can I help you? And you just don't see that very much anymore.
No, I mean, I think that's what separates, you know, like an online lender, an online insurance company, or like the Redfins of the world on the real estate side, right? Like, you can go open some doors, but what's that look like if something goes wrong, right? And that's what we're trying to educate our audience on is, hey, it looks easy until something goes wrong, whether it be lending, insurance, mortgage, real estate, you name it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's get on to some fun stuff. We've covered some insurance stuff. What do you like to do for fun?
Oh, man.
I know you have some hobbies.
I have a lot of hobbies, man. I like to study, just like common sense stuff. I'm really getting into retirement planning and stuff like that.
So what are the last 3 books, or what's the last book you read that you could really say, hey, all right, House Talk, this is the book you got to read?
Yeah, I need to get better at reading. I do a lot of finance radio, whatever, stuff like that.
So podcasts, what kind of, what's your retirement? Man. What have you learned most recently then?
All right, if I have to be honest, I'm not listening to some guy I don't know podcast. My dad's a Harvard MBA. I talked to him. My uncle James is a professor at Texas. I talked to him, economics professor.
So your dad, right? Harvard MBA. What's his go-to advice right now for you?
We were just talking about that this morning. I haven't got all my answers yet, but right now the stock market's not doing so hot. Is that going to be the next 3 months or 3 years or 15 years? Looking back historically, everybody likes to act like they know what's going on, but it could be really bad for a long time. It could be really bad for a short time. I don't see it just breezing through and nothing's going to happen. I think something's going to happen. So I'm still mulling over, where do I put my money? I'm 33 years old. I'm a young guy. I want to make sure that I'm setting up my nest egg to be, I want to be able to retire and have plenty of money or whatever. Should that be real estate? Should that be the stock market? Time in, not timing, should I just keep investing in my Roth IRA until, we get out of it and I'm buying it at discounted rates? Should I buy gold? I'm still kind of mulling over that right now. So when I said, you said, what are your interests? I'm interested in studying the things that are complicated and difficult. So I'm interested in that. I'm interested in Christianity. I'm interested in elk hunting. I spend a lot of time elk hunting, mushroom foraging in the summer, golfing, skiing. I kind of like to.
So what's your biggest elk you've killed?
Man, I've been hunting elk for 4 years, and I have drawn on an elk with my bow all 4 years, but I haven't killed an elk on my own. I've packed out 2 elk with friends, and I've killed several deer, turkey. I've killed a lot of different things, but I haven't got my first elk yet, and it pains me to say that. But that's just
so we'll have to have you back on, when he kills his first one. You'll have to get some footage. Yeah. Have to get some pictures out to House Talk. And then, that'll be fun.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
Back to insurance real quick, just thinking about it. because a lot of my clients have questions and everything about insurance. What is one thing that you think that most people don't realize or understand, or maybe like the biggest aha or insight you can give to someone who's maybe just brand new to insurance?
For homeowners specifically, I think a big thing is knowing that you need to have enough insurance to rebuild your house if there's a catastrophic loss. The house burns down, for example. How much coverage do you have? Do you have $100,000 and that's why your monthly premiums are so cheap? Or do you have $1 million worth of coverage, but your house is only worth $500,000? So making sure that you're not overinsured or underinsured is super important. You don't need to read the fine print, because I don't think most people are going to really understand what's going on in there anyway. You need to have somebody that you trust break it down into common English for you. I don't like to use acronyms and industry language that my customers aren't going to understand.
Can you give us an acronym example?
Yeah,
He doesn't use them,
like,
Mike.
Yeah. I mean, when somebody that works for me says something like SFPP, that stands for State Farm Payment Plan, like we just say payment plan instead.
SFPP,
Yeah.
Well, I got one for you. I mean, with home prices that have gone up so much in the past, say, 3 years, right?
Yeah.
And let's say we did a loan and you did the insurance in 2018-19.
Yeah.
Let's say a $300,000 house then. I mean, that house could be worth $500,000, and with the cost of construction, the cost of just housing in general, and to get that house rebuilt, their insurance, they may need $450,000 today. What I think a lot of people don't do in our business, both of our businesses, is they don't do those annual mortgage reviews, annual insurance reviews.
Yep.
Do you do that for your clients?
Yep, that's a great question. I do. Definitely not everybody does. Very few people do. But we do it annually. And if you look like in my to-do list every day, whatever Mike Benton's birthday is, what's your birthday month?
May.
So in May, you're going to get a phone call from somebody on my team saying, hey,
better
this
be
is
you.
the time. Yeah, I'll do it with you, but somebody else might make that call.
It's like,
But yeah, so just because the value of your home went up, there's a couple of things I would say. State Farm is unique in that we have inflation built into our policy. So people will call us all the time, hey, why did my homeowner's insurance go up? Well, we'll ask them, well, why did the value of your home go up? So kind of funny. But if you bought a house for $300,000 and today it's worth $550,000, that's inflation. That's kind of the main word to encompass what's going on there. But with our State Farm policy, each year at renewal, the company is intelligent enough to dial up for inflation. Not every company does that. State Farm does. Your policy goes up naturally with inflation. So when we say you bought it for $300,000, it would only cost $200,000 to rebuild. The land, that real estate, you live downtown Colorado Springs, you could wipe that house down and the dirt there is worth $100,000. So the house is not worth $300,000. The house is worth $200,000. We could hire a contractor to rebuild it with nails and brick or wood or whatever for $200,000. Now, as that number goes up with inflation, and maybe the house is worth $500,000, but it still might only cost $310,000 to rebuild it because the cost of labor went up a little bit, lumber, stuff like that, raw materials. But you don't need to insure your house for the market value. You want to insure it for the replacement cost. How much can we charge a builder, Bob the builder, to rebuild that house?
Awesome. I love that. So what else, man? What else? What are your goals for 2023? How can we help you?
Yeah, my goal. Yeah, thanks. My goal for 2023 is the same as it was for 2022 and 2021 and 2020. I want to grow my business, and I'll never stop doing that. Well, maybe one day I'll want to do other things, but I'll probably never stop wanting to grow my business. What I value is hiring more people and helping people become professionals in our industry. So I started out with myself and a picnic table, and then I had one guy selling with me, and then I had a lady doing the admin while the other guy did the selling. And then now I've got two guys selling and one lady doing the admin, and I'm kind of managing everybody. And we're currently looking to hire another person. So every year I want to hire one more person. That's kind of what I'm going for. I have the same growth goals that I had last year, but in my business, it's a renewal type thing. So I get all these customers. I've got a lot of them now. And then they're supposed to renew, but about 80% of them renew. 20% of them move on to they leave the state or they go to a different company, whatever reason.
Yeah, attrition happens, right? I mean, we all lose every now and again.
Yeah, so since my attrition, let's call it 20%, 20% of $1 million book of business is not that much money, a couple $100,000. But as your $4 million, $7 million, $10 million, that 20% is huge. So I need more sales guys to be selling more homeowners policies. And I feel like, you said, how can you help me? You can help me the same way that I can help you. I think you guys are industry experts when it comes to lending. If somebody says, hey, do you know anybody who can, write me a mortgage? I'm going to point in this direction because I think you guys are really smart. You're hardworking and you make it fun. And so I do the same thing. So if I refer you, I know that you're an extension of me and you're going to make me look good. Because when my customer comes back and says, that Mike guy was cool, his team is freaking cool, thank you for that introduction.
My team's cool. I'm not, but they are.
Yeah. But they're going to probably appreciate that introduction. And I want your customers to feel the same way. When you say, hey, give Colby's team a call for your insurance needs, you're not going to have like some kind of issue where we don't follow up or we don't know our stuff or the customer asks us really hard questions and we crumble under pressure. We don't do that. We're really good at what we do. So we're just going to make you guys look good. But I would love, when somebody just refers us, it feels so good. It's the biggest way to grow your business, word of mouth, referral, whatever. So
absolutely.
Well, that's how we work. That's primarily how I do my business. So I can definitely appreciate and understand and relate to that. I have one more quick question. So if you had, let's say, your dad or a college buddy or something asking you about insurance, what is a insurance hack that you would tell someone really close to you, like a friend or family member that really is giving them some good insight that most people wouldn't get?
It depends on the product and the person, man. It's a very custom,
What's the hack if
conversation
it were me?
If it were you,
that's the question I want to know.
Since you know me.
Well, for you, I made sure that, we have your liability so fat. I want to make sure that if you hit somebody, you're not going to be sued. Your insurance policy is going to take care of that. I feel like a good small hack that some people maybe need to know in this office is like, you got a bunch of guys here that are hustling, that are making good money. Hopefully they're supporting their own lifestyles and stuff. They're going to buy condos and they're going to rent them out. I would say like one of the many hacks, again, it's really dependent on each conversation, but one is loss assessment. A lot of people don't think about it. They go and they buy a condo. They're part of an association. Their homeowners or their insurance with State Farm or Geico or whoever will be just the inside of the unit. You've got a master condo policy that really protects you for those catastrophic losses. If the whole condominium place burned up in flames, then there's another guy who's going to rebuild, another provider that's going to rebuild that place. They're going to ask. We're walls in. The smaller policies are just walls in, and that's your individual policy. But the big thing is loss assessment. So if they take roof damage and it's a $1 million deductible, $800,000 deductible, $100,000 deductible, they're going to send an email and a letter to everybody who lives there and owns a condo in that association. And they're going to say, hey, you're being assessed for $6,000 or $10,000. And then you call me and say, hey, I'm being assessed because I have this big deductible. And they think that I'm everything. I can at least tell them, in my office, we write a minimum of $10,000 or sometimes $20,000 loss assessment. But a lot of customers don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're buying. And they buy from that guy that's just a customer service rep that doesn't know anything either, or he's new, he's green, whatever. And they bought accidentally a $1,000 loss assessment. When they get that bill for $8,000, their policy only pays $1,000 of it. Now they have to figure out how to come up with $7,000. So loss assessment is a good hack for
it's really good. Yeah. So what is that like on a $300,000 condo? What's typically
that's the cool thing is it's like no difference in price between $10,000 loss assessment and $1,000 loss assessment. You're looking at a couple bucks. I mean, that's definitely a hack. Again, there's hundreds.
That's a good one, man. See, there you go. That's for our audience. I mean, that's something, right? I'd be interested. Go look at your policies. If you own a condo, take a look at what your loss assessment is. Yeah. And then if it's not where you want it to be, give this guy a call. I know you don't want to do any self-promoting, but give our audience your full name, your agency name, so they can Google you, your number, and great ways to get a hold of you.
Yeah, the best way is just Googling, Google any State Farm agent. Colby Zipperer, my last name is Zipperer.
Zipper.
If you guys find us, Google whatever, give us a call, come stop by. What I would do for you guys, or anybody on my team, is we can look at all of your policies. So your auto insurance, your umbrella policy, your homes, your condos, if you've got rental investment properties. We can really quickly look at all of them, and almost every time we find a problem, and we'll just bring it up and point at it and say, you're in charge of your own life, but I like to just at least give you the chance to make a change. And so with you, I don't know. There's a couple things that I pointed out, and I was like, hey.
Well, I mean, one thing I think was the replacement cost, right, on mine.
Yeah,
replacement cost was a little low.
Was low. Yeah,
there's a couple things, and then even on our cars, I remember for the same price, you were able to increase all my coverages on all of our cars.
Yeah,
which was cool.
And so just looking at that, like, we can't do it for everybody, right? There's an algorithm. We win about 20% of every conversation that we have. So if I talk to 5 people today, I'm going to save one of those guys money. So I have to talk to 5 to figure it out. But all 5, I'll find problems with their insurance.
But then maybe that's what I love. I mean, you end up helping somebody, right? If, like, when ZET sends me someone and they end up going with, say, the builder's preferred lender, it's like I look at their loan estimate from the builder and say, hey, they own the mortgage company. They can do better. Go use them. We're okay with that, right?
Yeah.
That's giving more than you receive, and that's why you have a business that's growing. That's why he has a business that's growing, and we want one that continues to grow and provide a lot of value for our clients, our partners, our audience, and just great having you on the show today, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot for inviting me.
Absolutely.
This was fun.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for being here. And you bring up such a good point that everybody's situation is unique and everybody's circumstances is individual to them. So really, wherever you are, we can help you in whatever fashion that is, or wherever you might need some information or resources. So if you do have questions or would like Colby to kind of review your situation and look at where you might be able to help, or any of us in any of the different areas of your life, wherever that may be. But we'd love to meet you where you are. And if you do have questions or need help in any way, make sure to drop a comment below, or you can reach out in the DMs and we'll make sure to get you in touch with Colby, or help you with whatever we can. We'd love to help you out. That's what we're all about here. And we want to just thank you so much for tuning in, whether you're tuning in live or catching this on the replay. Hope you're having a wonderful week. Mike, you have anything else?
That's it, man. Have a great rest of the week. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. House Talk with this guy, the Rockstar Realtor, ZET, and the Dome. See you next week.
Thanks, Colby. Thanks for joining us.
Yep.
All right. See you guys.